Hey, how you doing everybody? Very casual gameplay coming at you. Probably lots of bugs and issues and me stopping to change keybinds and stuff like that. But just, if you want to watch, you're more than welcome to watch. Let's just do it in a very relaxed, chilled out kind of way. Right, so we've done the first one, let's do the second one. Let's see if they all work. Okay. We're going to learn about the controls. It's going to take about 4 minutes. That's greyed out. Don't know why. There we go. It's loading it in, I guess. Takes a while to load, doesn't it? Oh, it's like one of my cameras has gone down. There we go. I think we're back online. Good, good. This is taking an absolute lifetime. Okay.
Let's get you familiar with the aircraft, a Cessna 172, and a few commands to navigate it through the skies. In front of you is the yoke. The yoke is like a steering wheel, more or less. Turn it left or right to control the ailerons and bank the aircraft into turns. Look at the trailing edge of the wings while turning the yoke to see the effect on the ailerons.
It's so frustrating that it's forcing me to do that. I don't really want to do that. Shift K plus I. What? Shift K plus I? You joking me? Well, that's not working. Shift K. Shift I. That's not doing anything. Shift and J. Yeah, I'm looking at them.
Okay.
I love how our mouth
The
moves
difference between the yoke
as
and
he
the steering
speaks.
wheel is you can pull or push on the yoke.
Do love that.
This controls the elevator at the back of the aircraft to make it climb or descend. Look at the horizontal stabilizer while you pull on the yoke. You can see how it affects the elevator.
Really? Again? When I'm doing it. What do you want me to look at? There's a chair in the way.
Nice.
So
Down at your
fiddly.
feet are the rudder pedals. They steer the aircraft when you're on the ground. The upper part of the pedals also control your brakes. In the air, they control the rudder at the end of the vertical stabilizer to yaw the aircraft. This is mostly for small corrections. For coordinating turns or compensating for a plane's tendency to pull left during takeoffs and climbs. Look at the vertical tail while operating the pedals to see the effect on the rudder.
Oh, seriously?
Great. Last but not least, the throttle is located near the center of the cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
Pushing forward will increase power. Pulling back will decrease power. First, look at the throttle and select it.
Why does it not recognize... The oil pressure's really low. Why does it not recognize that I have controllers installed? Why is it forcing me to do it all with the
Keep it
mouse
selected and push it forward to increase power.
and the keyboard? What I'm doing, I'm pushing the throttle. That's exactly what you want me to do, isn't it?
Power is increased. Now pull it back to decrease power.
Shouldn't have to do this way.
Power is decreased. Now we'll do the same without focusing on it. Deselect the throttle. Look away from the throttle and increase power. Set your throttle to idle.
I've just done it.
Excellent. When the engine is on, you'll be able to see the power change on your RPM indicator. You will find it on your PFD screen in the top left corner.
Look at the RPM indicator by using blah 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 blah. I can't move this thing out the way. Oh, brilliant. So that's in the way, so... Exactly how would you like me to look at this thing that you're blocking? I mean, it's right there. I'm looking at it. Why can't I get rid of that? What is that? Oh, there we go. So I'm looking at it. I think. RPM indicator. Yes, I see it. Whoa. Oh, come on, I'm looking at it. Go away. Ah, I can't. This thing is really annoying me. Go away. For God's sakes, I'm looking at it. What more do you want? How looking at it must I be?
This tells you how fast the engine is spinning in hundreds of revolutions per minute. Next, take a look at your current speed on the airspeed indicator. It's on the left on your PFD screen.
Yep, I'm looking at it right now.
It measures the speed in knots. To check your altitude, look to the altimeter. It's on the right on your PFD screen. Not all aircraft have integrated screens with all this information. A lot of them rely on analog instruments. You can find the analog versions of the airspeed indicator and the altimeter just above the throttle. They are respectively on the left and right. The analog altimeter has 3 hands similar to a clock. The long, thick pointer indicates 100-foot intervals. The short, thick one is 1,000-foot intervals, and the long, thin one counts 10,000-foot intervals. That's all for today. Next time, we'll see how it feels in the air.
Well, that was pretty horrible. Just wondering which one am I going to fail first. Right now, I had power issues last time. Hopefully this time it will work. Ignition's on, that one's disconnected. Let's get some 50% throttle on the go. On the rudders. I am ready to fly. Oh, not this.
To help demonstrate pitch, I've drawn 3 lines on the windshield.
Yep.
Notice how the middle line matches the horizon while we're flying level?
Yep.
This is the cruise attitude. The lower dotted line is the climb attitude, and the upper one is the descent attitude.
Okay.
Let's dig deeper into what that means. Pull back gently on the yoke until the climb attitude line matches the horizon. Then maintain that attitude.
On the horizon or just above the horizon? Okay.
According to your altimeter, we're gaining altitude. But we're losing airspeed, proving you can't avoid basic physics while making a climb. Excellent. That's good. Keep working on it. You'll get better.
I'll get better? What was wrong with that?
Let's level back out. Our speed is increasing and our altitude is stable. All right. That's good. That's okay. Push gently on the yoke until the descent attitude line matches the horizon. Then maintain that attitude.
Very twitchy.
As expected, with a nose-down attitude, our altitude is decreasing while our speed is picking up. That's good. Keep working on it. You'll get better.
Thanks.
Okay, bring us back to level flight. Now your speed is decreasing and your altitude is stable. Nice. That's good. That's okay. Try to make only small adjustments to your pitch to avoid overcooking.
I am. It's very sensitive. I'm barely moving it. What do I get? 80%? I bet it doesn't tell me what I did wrong either. My CPU is like 80, 90 degrees Celsius, then that seems very high. Pitch up to climb 69. Pitch down to descend 49. Wow. She was not impressed with my flying, was she? I missed an A for that. I'll have to come back to that another time. Yeah, a bit concerned about my CPU. That was getting really hot. But not quite right over here. Turns and rolls. I'll be rubbish at this. It wants me to be really precise, but the problem I've got is, of course, is that the inputs are not very sensitive, are too sensitive, so I barely move and it's very twitchy and bouncy.
For this lesson, we're going to use a line drawn on the windshield to indicate the cruise attitude. I've also added another dotted line to help you bank properly for left turns.
Thanks.
Gently move the yoke to the left until the dotted line matches up with the horizon. Then maintain that bank.
That's pretty good. Come on. Come on, that's pretty good.
That's good.
Pretty good.
Watch your altitude. It wasn't constant during the turn. Now, let's see you level back out. All right. For the next step, turning to the right, let's see how you do on your own without any markings. You can see a series of notches representing 10-degree increments on the attitude indicator part of your PFD. As a general rule, you always want to keep your turns under 30 degrees.
500.
Getting pretty low to the ground.
Right until you're lined up with the second notch to the right on the attitude indicator. Then, maintain that 20-degree bank while remaining at the same altitude until I ask you to stop.
Difficult maintaining the same altitude, I gotta say.
Working on it, you'll get better. Keep working to maintain a constant altitude during the turn.
It's so close to the ground. So close to the ground.
Great. Additional practice will help, don't worry.
Mm-hmm. It's going to fly me straight into this here.
Small corrections on the yoke will lead to more accurate turns.
Okay. It's another B then, or a C. Oh, 92 degrees on the CPU temperature. That's not right. That's very hot. C. Oh, that was even worse. Power settings. In this tutorial, we'll learn about the relationship between RPM and throttle management. To do so, you'll have to maintain a consistent cruise altitude, reduce the cruise RPM, seeing the effects of power changes. Yep. Alrighty.
Let's talk about the throttle. If you have the need for speed, then the throttle's for you. Full control over the power output of the engine. In the Cessna 172, that relates directly to the RPM displayed on the tachometer on the PFD. Pull back on the throttle to reduce RPM to 1800.
Oh, RPM's on the other bloody side.
Look how your speed and altitude are also decreasing. Excellent. Okay, let's throttle back up to 2,400 RPM. Your speed is increasing now. As long as you maintain the same attitude, your altitude will keep climbing as well. Nice. That was excellent.
Ooh, thank you very much.
With piston planes like this Cessna, it's common to have power targets defined in RPM.
Wow, I did something good. Oil pressure's still low. Shouldn't really be flying that plane with oil pressure that low. It's rather dangerous. Ooh, an A! Not quite 100%, but close. Right, so now we're going to do some trimming. I was trying to trim before, I'm not sure it was working. It's probably turned off.
In this lesson, let's take a look at the relationship between attitudes and power settings. Attitude plus power equals performance. We're currently at 5,500 feet in a cruise attitude. The aircraft's nose is positioned under the horizon, and cruise power is at 2,300 RPM.
No, it's not.
Try to
2,000.
reduce power to
That's
2,000
wrong.
RPM while maintaining 5,500 feet.
5,500 feet. I've got no access to power.
You probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up.
I've got no control over anything.
You could just keep
Oh, I
pulling
know
on the yoke
why.
to hold steady. But that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down.
Yep.
Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle.
We're not at 5,500 feet though.
Try it out. Trim the aircraft. Keep working on it. You'll get better.
To be fair, I was trying to set up the the screen so I could see the information. Right, okay, I'm ready now.
In this lesson, let's take a look at the relationship between attitudes and power settings. Attitude plus power equals performance. We're currently at 5,500 feet in a cruise attitude. The aircraft's nose is positioned under the horizon, and cruise power is at 2,300 RPM.
It's a little bit over because we're dropping altitude.
Try to reduce power to 2,000 RPM while maintaining 5,500 feet.
Okay.
That's good. You probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up.
Yeah.
You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle.
Okay.
Nice. Increase power to 2,300 RPM while maintaining 5,500 feet. Get us back to a cruise attitude. Excellent. Now, adjust the trim. All right. Wow, great job. The way I was taught, when you adjust the trim, you make course changes at first to remove pressure on the yoke. Then small adjustments to find the perfect setting to keep your desired attitude. If you feel your pitch slipping and need to get back to the proper attitude, don't worry. Just pull on the yoke, then dial in the right trim. That's the key to straight and level flight.
Everything seems to be working reasonably well at the moment. The PC's overheating, but that's not good. Oh, really? So that one was 100%. Now I've got 75% for that. That's pretty harsh. But I'll take the A and move on. Let's review what you've learned in your previous lessons. This first test is an important step on your way to completing your PPL. You will be asked to maintain different altitudes, combine climbs, level flight, descents and turns, manage power settings. Oh, okay. Let's do it. This is like training for my PPL, I guess.
The art of maneuvering a plane through the air isn't a mystery to you anymore. Now it's time to test the skills you've learned. As you can see, we're cruising at 6,000 feet on a north heading of 360 degrees. Start by descending to 5,500 feet while maintaining a northerly heading. While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed.
How long do I have to do this? I'll do slow and steady.
While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed. That's good. Now, climb to 6,000 feet and turn to a south heading. On the Cessna 172, you need full power to climb effectively.
Thank you.
Alright, next exercise. Maintain your heading of 180 degrees, stay at 6,000 feet, and adjust your airspeed to 80 knots. Alright. That was excellent.
Thank you. Oh, that's pretty straightforward. Getting a little bit nervous there. So my descent was rubbish. I think I was just too slow. She wanted me to be a lot quicker, take a lot more power off. But anyway, we scraped an A out of it, so all good. 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 Come back and fix that another time. Let's do some takeoff and landing. So this I've already done. Cool. Start the training.
Hello. Today we're going to go over all the steps that precede turning on your engine. Those steps are essential to ensure your aircraft's integrity and
Nice.
that everything is in order for a smooth and seamless flight. First of all, stretch your legs a bit and take a look at your aircraft and your surroundings. We never took much time to look at our aircraft from the outside, so take your time if you want to inspect it.
I love this. It's very nice.
You might have noticed some extra bits on your aircraft. These are the covers and chocks. Covers are installed when the plane is not in use and are meant to avoid damaging its sensitive parts. Chocks are there to immobilize the aircraft. You'll need to remove them before takeoff. And we're done for the outside. Now that we're sure your aircraft is functional and ready to taxi, let's check the inside.
I love this.
Let's get to the matter at
Such a
hand.
simple thing, but it means
You've been given a
so
𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃,
much.
also referred to as an electronic flight bag. It's a tablet that stores critical flight information and is the ideal tool to prepare your flight plans and enhance your piloting experience. Open it and take a look. Feel free to follow a quick guided tour of its features. The 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃 features an interactive map, a flight plan editor, aircraft and current flight information, a nav log, as well as fuel and payload options. The 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃 has plenty to offer, but if you want to get directly into the action, you can turn it off after you finish the quick tour.
Okay, probably best that I have it over this side. Do a quick tour. Here you can plan your next flight, check your navigation map, check airports information and charts. Here you can check your flight performances, use checklists and have access to your aircraft documents. Pilot Book app. Here you can view some of your flight statistics and access your logbook. Here you can manage your preferences and parameters for the EFB. From here you access and manage all of your EFB applications. Okay. So on here, checklists, pre-flight. Pedo, park your brake. Check the park your brake handle is pulled. I can't do that. Ignition key is off. Avionics master. Oh. They're supposed to be off. Master switch, altitude battery on. Whoops. Primary flight display. PFD is on, yes. Yes. Fuel quantity, verify. Yeah, I'm just going to say it. Yeah. Oil pressure, annunciator check. Where's that then? Smarty pants. What, this here? Low volts, low oil pressure, low vacuum. Okay, just check that it's shown. Yeah, okay, it's shown. Vacuum, volts, master switch, altitude and battery off. Elevator trim in the takeoff position. Fuel selector valve on both. I'm going to assume it is. Static pressure alternator source valve. Bomb. Wow, there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah, okay, fine. Cool.
It seems like we're all clear on the checklist. Now start this pretty bird up.
Beacon, taxi, nav. Oh. Press the wrong buttons. Turn the battery off again.
Now that we've covered all the preparations, let's get to the good stuff, shall we?
Yes. Is that it? I thought it was gonna take off. That was pre-flight training, was it? Okay. Good, 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 good. Taxi is an essential skill to master before... Yep, I agree. Am I not going to do startup? I'm just going to straight into taxi.
Let's take a moment to talk about taxiing. Taxiing refers to moving the aircraft on the ground under its own power. In particular, getting from the ramp out to the hold short point on the edge of the runway. Steering on the ground is managed through the rudder pedals. That's right, unlike driving a car, we turn by using our feet. Okay, ready? With the throttle idle, release your parking brake.
Control space.
Okay. Now, gently increase throttle to get the aircraft moving.
It seems
Easy
stuck.
on your throttle. Use your rudder pedal to turn left and enter the taxiway. Increase throttle to gain forward momentum and then reduce RPM accordingly to match a fast walking speed while taxiing. Now, test the brakes. Good. Brakes checked. Taxi to the next exit, then come to a stop.
I don't know why my brakes
Control your speed
down
with
here
the
didn't
throttle
work.
and brakes. See the crossing in front of us. Stop before it, as if traffic was coming off the runway.
I'm sure my brakes are working.
All right, taxi to holding point Alpha 1 next. It's at the far end of the airport, near the head of runway 21. Stay as close as possible to the taxiway center, marked by the yellow line, and watch your speed.
I love how undulating this runway is, or taxiway I should say. That seems so much better than Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020.
After the right turn, come to a stop before the hold short point, in prep for takeoff. Watch your speed.
I don't think my brakes are actually brakes. They don't seem to do anything. I haven't used the space bar at the moment.
That was good taxiing. The next challenge will be to keep the aircraft under control while at full throttle for takeoff.
No problem. I only got a B for that. I think it's because I was speeding. Like I say, I did put my foot on the brakes and it just didn't seem to do anything.
There's an old saying I like, a mile of road will take you a mile. A mile of runway will take you
anywhere.
Taking off isn't hard, but there are a few key points to remember.
Yeah.
First, we always take off into the wind, which won't be an issue on a calm day like today. Second, before we enter a runway, we always make sure it's clear. Check to the right to see if a vehicle is on the runway. And to the left to make sure no other planes are approaching.
I love how she talks. Got a nice voice, actually.
Runway numbers are not arbitrary. Each number matches the first two number of the runway's compass bearing, rounded to the nearest 10 degrees. For example, a runway orientated towards the north would be numbered 36, which is 360 degrees on a compass. Everything looks good, no cross traffic. Go ahead and taxi into position.
Roger!
Now slowly taxi onto the runway and align the plane with the center line. Then stop your plane just after the number 21. Not bad.
Lost points there because I didn't throttle down.
All right, let's do this.
Problem is my
Full power,
flipping brakes
and
aren't
I'll walk you
working.
through the takeoff as we go.
I'm a bit wonky as well.
Use your rudder to stay on the center line, and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots.
The rudder seems to be improved over 2020. I'm not all over the bloody place now. It seems quite natural.
Good. Now, gently pull back on the yoke. And we're airborne.
Oh, yes, we are.
Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple of inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb altitude. Maintain 75 knots, and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time. Focus on flying straight. Use your rudders to remove the left yaw plane as when climbing. You can see your current yaw input by looking at the MFD's slip skid indicator. Maintain 75 knots and climb to 5,500 feet.
What I'm doing. I think you're being a bit impatient.
Okay, 5,500 feet. You've reached your target altitude. That was a nice takeoff.
It's probably a B. I don't think that went very well. Okay, I did better than I thought. In this landing tutorial, you will focus on the yoke. Using the yoke, there will be no need to activate your throttle or flaps on this one. To perform a proper landing, the aircraft speed and rate of descent are reduced to allow for a gentle touchdown. Okie dokie.
For this landing exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle.
Uh-huh.
Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast. Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare.
Oh, I thought I wasn't supposed to be doing the throttle.
Raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does.
I had the throttle on maximum.
100.
It did say I wouldn't need the throttle, so I just...
We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back. Now, focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now, apply the brakes progressively to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. Use rudder pedals to stay on the center line.
I'm trying to, but my rudder brakes are not working at all.
Well done. But there's room for improvement.
Well,
Keep in mind that
there's room for improvement with you.
speed is key to a good landing.
You told me I wouldn't be using my flipping throttle, so I put it in maximum to get it out of the way. Let's retry that, shall we? This time we'll do it without the throttle at maximum. Okay, ready to fly.
For this landing exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast. Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does. We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back. Now, focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now, apply the brakes progressively to slow us down. And
My
bring the
brakes are
plane to a
not
stop.
working.
Use rudder pedals to stay on the center line.
My brakes are not working at all. I better lose points for
Well done. But
coming
there's room
off.
for improvement.
I better lose points for coming off the runway.
Runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
I better lose points for coming off the runway. Wow, that's really crap. I thought I did better than that. If too high, reduce throttle. If too low, add throttle. Quite simple.
In the first part of this landing exercise, I want you to stay on the glide path by using the throttle. You can make small corrections with the yoke to stay aligned with the runway. Smooth action on the throttle is key for remaining on the correct glide path. If you find yourself too high, reduce your power. If you're too low, increase it. Remember though, always make soft corrections. You don't want to overcompensate.
Like I just did.
Now you can use the elevator to land.
That's pretty
Reduce
awful.
Throttle to idle. Now, focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it.
Terrible landing.
Nice. Now, apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop.
That's not going to get me good points at all.
That was excellent.
No, it wasn't. Don't lie to me, woman. Yeah, the flare was pretty crap. Right, it's just my exam, is it, for the this is like a pre-PPL practice run. I wish I hadn't just pulled that cable out. It doesn't seem to want to work, does it?
My first instructor used to say, the best part of flying is landing in one piece. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing. And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 20 degrees of flaps.
Roger.
Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare.
I notice it doesn't tell you about the glide slope colours or anything like that. Finally found the glide slope.
Reduce throttle to idle. Now, focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it.
Whoa, whoa.
Nice. Now, apply the brakes progressively to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. Use rudder pedals to stay on the center line.
Got to fix these brakes. That was not
You did
great.
well, but you can do better.
Yeah, that was not great. I was barely on the glide slope
Keep
at
in
all.
mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
Yeah, I didn't really get the speed down properly. Is it a close A? It's a very close A. Still. That's a pass, I think. What's this? This training session covers the procedures to be performed whilst flying in a left-hand traffic pattern from downwind leg to final approach. Traffic patterns, also called circuits, are paths to be followed on takeoff and landing, allowing air traffic to move in and out of airports safely. Each part of the pattern is referred to as a leg. Okey dokes.
Okay, we're currently flying on the downwind leg at the standard traffic pattern altitude of 6,000 feet. It's a flight path parallel to the landing runway, but in the opposite direction. In downwind, you want to start preparing for landing. That means setting your speed and flaps configuration. We are passing the end of the runway, so go ahead and reduce RPM to 1700. It will help you to slow you down to 80 knots and begin your descent. The flaps provide extra lift at the expense of additional drag. This extra lift allows flying at a lower airspeed. Flaps allow for smoother and shorter landings. Go ahead and extend 10 degrees of flaps, all
done it.
while maintaining current speed.
Just done it.
We will turn to the base leg when the end of the runway is at a 45-degree angle behind us. Turn left onto the base leg. Try to keep our speed around 75 knots. Keep an eye on the runway as we get ready for our final turn.
Was that 75 knots?
Turn left onto final. Make your left turn onto final. Keep a stabilized approach with 65 knots airspeed and prepare for landing. Use throttle and flaps as required to adjust the glide slope.
We're looking good. Just a little bit wonky.
Apply the brakes and stop the plane. You followed the traffic pattern well. Good job.
It sounds like a B to me. A low B. This definitely feels more realistic than the first one did. Good job I did well on that first section, huh? So, left base, I was doing 75 and then I reduced my speed in order to prepare for final for 65, and then she said keep your speed at 75. So I don't feel like 100% that was my fault. But anyway, we nearly got an A. We nearly got an A. First solo. Here we go. You train for this. Now it's time to show off your skills. Channel all of your aviation know-how and complete a standard traffic pattern without any assistance from your instructor. Stay relaxed. Operate your aircraft safely and enjoy your flight. To 80 knots then. Okay, I'm ready. 6,000 feet, huh? 5,300. 5,700. Let's do it. That's quite exciting, this.
It's time. Your first solo flight. I'll be watching from the ground, in radio contact if you need me, but something tells me you won't. Your goal is to complete Sedna's left-hand traffic pattern on your own. Remember everything we covered in our previous sessions, and you'll be just fine. Good luck. See you on the other side.
I'm just going to take a moment to see why my brakes aren't working. Not bound to anything, that's why. Okay. That should be it. So much easier than it used to be. So much faster than it used to be. Alright, let's get out of here. Yeah, they're working. A bit far. Picks up for the late turn, I guess. Oh, I didn't retract the flaps. I didn't realise I had 10 degrees of flaps. We're a bit high. too high. Come on, get that nose down. Terrible, terrible finish. Final was just awful. Well, the brakes and the rudders just feel so much better. I've actually got control of the aircraft now. Brilliant.
You did well, but you can do better.
Yeah, that final...
You're on your way to becoming one hell of a pilot.
Everything was alright except for that final. The final was crap. I can get my speed down. 100% on the crosswind leg. Oh, only just a B. What was wrong with my takeoff? I thought my takeoff was quite good. Scoring details. I didn't notice that before. Let's have a look at the scoring details. Hold heading, keep your speed around 75. Did I not do that then? Crosswind leg was absolutely fabulous. Ah well. A little bit harder that time. But I gotta say, the plane feels more realistic. I just need a bit of practice. I haven't flown for quite a while. You do get rusty quick. The 𝗬𝗏 and 𝗖𝗏 navigation, that'll be the next lot. But I'm going to take a little break from this. According to this, I'm going to get just below 80% on 𝗬𝗏 navigation. Bit of a stressful situation. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Goodbye for now.